Hey, iCkEdMeL, and I'm going to keep this very short. This is the clipped version of the conversation I had with Kevin that used to work with AWP, and there were so many important things that we spoke about in this. One with pertaining to Doug Bishop, and I was on the fence about Doug because I wasn't sure if he knew or not, but after talking to Kevin, I believe Doug didn't know. And I also got an understanding of what Doug meant by when he spoke about the code. Kevin broke that down as well, and we just spoke about so many other things. So definitely check out the video. And it just a crazy situation for the alleged victims, but and also just people that didn't know, coming to find out now. And I also spoke with Anthony again during the end of this live stream, which I believe we'll have more conversations about that. The people that I've spoken to seem from like the XWAP people that work with AWP seems the ones that I spoke to so far seem very genuine. So yeah, hit like, subscribe, and here's the video. Okay, I think we have them. Let me just double check. Awesome. Hi, how you doing? Let me switch the camera thing here.
Doing good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, great. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Let me try to get my camera.
Sure.
I just moved into a new place, so
Okay.
my place is bare and I'm just unpacking it. It took me like half an hour when I saw that you were live and I asked to come up and you said, yeah, let me put a link. I just now found my camera.
Oh, okay,
I can't move it either. That is what it is. That's where it's going to be. I just got a call from Sam too on the phone. So Sam and we're really good friends. For all the viewers, I don't know probably 90% of your viewers, but Sam and I are pretty tight. We're close friends. If you're wondering who I am.
Do you know Anthony too?
Yeah, from New York.
Yeah.
I met Anthony in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. I've been talking to him a little bit on the phone. Can you tell us who you are? Honestly, this is my first time hearing about you, but everybody's like, it's him, he's here, Kevin. I was like, oh shit. Can you tell us a little bit of who you are and like how you became to be with AWP?
Yeah, so I was rarely ever on camera, and I wasn't with AWP nearly as long as Sam. In the short story, I'm an electrical engineer by trade, and the company I was working with wasn't doing too well when it came to how they treated people during the pandemic. So I'd been saving up for a while and wanted to travel the country. So I sold everything I own. I built a van out with solar power and things like that, and I traveled the country building a YouTube channel. I wanted to have YouTube fund my travels throughout the country. So one thing I was watching Adventures with Purpose probably for about 6 months before that. And this is back in November of 2020. Okay. And I got in contact with Jared and I had said, hey, listen, I'm a former police officer. I know you probably don't read all your emails, but if you're going to read one, let this be it. There's going to be some murder cases that you're rolling up on, and I want you guys to be able to have security or the know-it-all before a situation comes on. So I kind of gave him some advice. His response was to me and it was about 45 days later, hey, do you want to come on and be security? Like he didn't vet me or anything. He just said, do you want to come on and be security? So I said, yeah, I'm actually traveling the country. Going to be here in March. So this is probably December, January. I said in March, I'm leaving full time to travel the country. I'm 100% going to be down with you guys. But I told Jared, I want to let you know that I'm going to ride your coattails and grab some of your subscribers because he had like 900,000 at the time. I said, that's one of my goals, just to be completely honest with you. Serving, I was in the Coast Guard too. So I was in the military. Oh, wow. I was a police officer and now I'm an electrical engineer, but serving has always been a part of my life up until this career here. So I was really excited to serve in some form or faction. And the videos that I saw up to that time, it seemed like everything was not only on the up and up, but especially with Sam. My dogs are going crazy back here.
That's all right.
You see him?
Thank you for your service. Yeah.
You're welcome. So I noticed, I knew that Sam was like my tractor beam to go help out because he just was such a cool dude on camera. And I found out off camera, he's no different. So I went out. I think my first time I met with them was in Sioux City, Iowa. Sam, if you can confirm or deny that. And it was a case that they didn't even film, or they filmed, but the audio went bad. They didn't find anything anyway. I have a video up of that a little tiny little montage video of me hanging out with them. Sam made a funny comment when I asked him, I was on camera saying, "What's your favorite part about doing all this?" And he's like, "Other than meeting you," and he gave his Sam laugh with a big smile. So at that trip, at the end of it, Jared, he's like, "Yeah, I wanted to invite you out to be full time with us whenever you can. You seem like a cool dude." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." But and that's when I told him I'm gonna, try to ride your coattails a little bit and grab. My goal was 30 to 50,000 subscribers just to sustain my travels from YouTube. And he was all about it. And then I went on a Tennessee trip with them, and then another trip in Texas, like 3 or 4 different cases in Texas I did with them, and a few others after that.
So you weren't getting paid?
No, I was 100%
just right. And you're
100% not getting paid. It was all voluntary.
Okay.
In Tennessee, Sam and I really started to become friends because I think we were there for, I can't tell you how many days, but I know 70 plus cars were pulled out of the water, and we were spending time with each other from 5 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. And Sam and I jumped in the RV, kind of get some downtime. It was him, myself, and Doug. Sam and I were in the mid living area, and Doug was up in the passenger seat, just kind of chilling on his ramp. Hey guys, come on. So Sam and I started, just chatting, telling our life stories back and forth. And we found that our life, hang on one second.
Very good.
All right.
I'm trying to, and you guys, if you have questions too, it's really hard for me to see the chat, but I'm trying to take notes of the questions you guys have while he's talking, and I'm trying to listen. Okay.
So Sam and I became good friends. We shared stories, and we recognized that our stories are pretty darn similar. So we had an instant kind of bond between friends. So to make a long story short, I noticed a lot of things behind the scenes that I was not comfortable with. I didn't discuss these with anybody. Dan and I had become good friends too, but not to the same level as Sam and I, because Dan's got a lot going on. He's a full-time student. He's working on his editing career, and he's got a business that he runs. But Dan and I met Dan's mom, and I told Dan, I said, "Dan, you're the most mature 18-year-old I've ever met. So I actually look up to you." Because we've all made the mistakes when we were 18, 19, 20 years old. And he hasn't made any of those mistakes, nor will he even come close to them. That's just how well-rounded he is. But I didn't want to be the new guy and bring up things that I was uncomfortable with to Sam or Dan, even though I was really good friends with Sam at that time, still am. But Sam and I were always in contact no matter what part of the country I was in. I'd go to his boat, hang out with him. My van actually got broken into in his marina. We actually had Jacob from Chaos Divers was good friends with us. So there's been this whole triangle that's been off camera that nobody knows about. And now that nobody's riding this train of Jared's great, Jared's good, we all knew and left for other reasons. Now that wasn't on the focus trail anymore, I think now I can probably speak my mind. So Jacob and I from Chaos Divers are really good friends too. I think we're getting back to being friends again. And that situation started with, I was in Illinois at Jacob's place, his house, and we were hanging. I was traveling the country. I'm like, I'm going to come swing out to your area. I left Oregon, went straight to Indiana or Illinois, hung out with him for a while and did some live streams on my channel and his channel. And on that trip, I was supposed to I don't want to say too much, but that's when I left Jacob, I was heading to Colorado to start the next trip with Adventures with Purpose. It was like a 90-day, 27 case trip or something like that.
You were working with him too, the Chaos Divers?
No, I wasn't working with him. I was just friends with him.
Oh, okay.
But there are some live streams and some cases that I worked with him when I was out there, just because we were friends, and security is always needed. Especially one of the cases that we did was high probability of being a murder charge, and it was on 3 different county lines and 2 state lines. So we didn't know who what law enforcement was going to take over it. And I got law enforcement background, so I knew he could have needed me if we found something and they had to direct some attention to law enforcement. So I left Jacob with Chaos Divers. Before I left, I had told him, and I hadn't even talking to Sam yet. And this is the next day is when Sam told me he was calling it quits with AWP on the phone. He told me that, and I was on the way to Colorado. So the day that I left Jacob from Chaos Divers, we had a conversation, and I had said to him some of the things that I was thinking. And one of the major problems I had is how Jared treated Jacob off camera. Off camera, he was very, very rude to Jacob, not only to his face, but 10 times fold more rude about Jacob behind his back. And Jacob at that time was a really good friend of mine. So I had told Jacob, I had said,
Can you give us some examples too? Like maybe like
Jacob's a very hardworking father, going through at that time or shortly before that some rough patches because he's a coal miner, and the coal mines were shutting down and laying off a ton of people. So Jacob's trying to balance his taking care of his family, which is by far most important to Jacob. I don't want anybody to think that his family's not number one. If you do, you're absolutely incorrect. Because I've seen a lot of things on his chats back in the day, which is like, where's your wife? What's going on? There was some difficulties going on because of the money stresses. And Jacob has more of a passion than most anybody I know to go into waters and help families get answers. I don't think, and being a YouTuber, so if you combine all those together, I don't think anybody else has as much passion as Jacob from Chaos Divers, and Lindsay, his editor and camera person, who's a very good friend of his as well. And I became really good friends with her and her husband as well. So I had told Jacob, listen, I'm concerned. I don't remember the exact conversation, but it went on something like this. Listen, I'm concerned about you and your direction, because Jared had just re-invited Jacob to start doing some cases with them. In the past, Jared had kicked Jacob out of hanging out with Adventures with Purpose for reasons that were basically just created in his own head, in Jared's own head. And he kind of took the route of, I'm king. I'm going to delete you from your career on YouTube. And then we had to go back to Texas because the case we were working in Texas, we didn't find anything. But then then Jared noticed something on his dive sonar after the fact that could have been a car in the area we were at. So he did a live stream saying, we're going back. And Jared was very emotional in this live stream. He says, we're going back. And all of us, including Jacob, reached out. If you're going, let me know. If you need me, I'll be there. Everybody, 100% of everybody. Dan could not make it. He had prior obligations that he just could not get out of. So they needed a cameraman. Jared reached out to Jacob, who had said, if you need me, I'll be there, even though those two were still, not cordial to each other. Do you want to come be my cameraman? So Jacob drove from Illinois to Texas, and we met up, and he was his cameraman for that time. That was Jared inviting Jacob back into the mix, I think. So I don't fault Jacob for anything. I think he's made 99% of the right decisions. I'm not going to go into the 1% of decisions he didn't do right, because there's no reason to paint a negative picture on a person who doesn't need it to happen to him. This is inside of a very tight friends group, but it was manipulated by Jared. I'll say that much. It was manipulated that Jacob and I and Jacob and Sam would no longer be friends. And it worked. It didn't work between me and Sam, but it worked between Jacob and Sam and Jacob and myself. So Jacob went on these cases with him instead of us. We both quit. The day that, so now I'm in Colorado after I had a discussion with Jacob. Keep an eye out, trying to protect you. The next day is when I was in Colorado waiting to meet up with these guys. and living in a van, traveling the country, an RV. It's not a, just a strict van. It's an RV. Sam had called me up and he had said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm officially and indefinitely finished with AWP. But Sam and I already had conversations, so he didn't need to tell me why. And those conversations were about many topics. The least important topic, Sam let me know, the least important topic is the money.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Sam's like, I really don't care about the money. I'm struggling like there's no tomorrow, but the money is least important to me. The most important thing to me is how these families are treated off camera. And that conversation with him and I the day before was, yeah, this is what I saw. Also, I didn't say anything to anybody. It wasn't my place. I'm brand new, not brand new, but I'm the new guy. It was just Sam, Dan, and Jared, and that was the threesome. We introduced me, which is 4, and 10% of the community had a problem with it, introducing somebody new to AWP.
Mm-hmm.
But even before they introduced me, I had had a conversation with Jared and Sam, and I had told them, I'm not a camera guy. I'm not looking to be on your camera. I'm security. I really need to be off your camera so people don't know who I am. The 900,000 people, in case there is some, foul play going to be planned for the future. The least people who know who I am, but I am going to ride your coattails. I'm going to stay with my YouTube channel. I'm going to grab 20, 30, 40,000 subscribers. So I was never on camera. I think I was on camera like 2 or 3 episodes, but very, very little. And that's the way we wanted it. So Sam called me up and he told me that he was leaving. I said, okay, I'm leaving too. So I just sent a text message to Jared. I didn't call him. I didn't do anything. Him and I have never been close anyway. There's a couple of videos I did on my channel, behind the scenes stuff of just hanging out. I did one AWP behind the scenes, and then like maybe 3 or 4 videos of me hanging out with Doug, Jared, Sam. I did a lot of videos hanging out with Sam. So I was never really close to Jared anyway. I said, okay, I'm done with you. He's like, no, man. Sam was like, listen, all I care about is I don't want to be a part of treating families wrong. I don't want my face to be on AWP with the stuff that's probably going to come out in the future, meaning how they treat people behind the scenes in the camera.
Can I ask you something real quick? Because
yeah, always interrupt me if you got a question.
I like to let people, because I want to listen to, but because I hear sometimes what the internet's saying, and I think this is important because people are saying that like, oh, maybe Sam knew about all these allegations, or maybe other members. As far as you know,
no one knew.
Okay,
no one.
When you say no one knew, you're speaking for you guys, like at the time in this circle, right? You don't know about the new guys, or
I know. I'd never like to speak for anybody.
Okay.
So I'm going to exclude Doug Bishop out of this because Doug and I've been to his house. I stayed the night at his house. I've hung out with him and his family. Doug and I, there's plenty of videos of me and Doug just cruising Oregon, looking at the sites there. I put them on video, a lot of twilight locations and things like that, and the shining locations. Doug and I had a falling out because of what happened next. So Sam told me he's not doing it anymore. Sam showed me the text messages. He actually sent me the text messages between him and Jared about the exit, or about the discussions that needed to be had. And it went exactly the way that Sam, I think he said in that video, that I've seen it months and months and months ago, or maybe a year ago. I didn't watch it when you were playing it because I was looking for this camera.
Yeah.
I think he said in that video that where was I going with this? I just got.
We're talking about.
The picture. Yeah. So Sam said in a text message, there was many things said, but one of them was, "Hey, it's just not cool for you to put my face on things, and 1, not ask me permission, but 2." He's like, I'm starving out here, not making any money, volunteering all this time. Just a tiny little bit of the royalties of that. And Sam was talking like literally a percentage of just the stuff that his face was on. And the follow-up text was, I think it's time that you and I end this relationship. And I think the next thing from Sam was like, that's fine. or whatever. I don't really remember. So I had sent at that time a text message to Jared saying, I am no longer going to serve as security with Adventures with Purpose. I wish you guys the best in your future endeavors. I hope you guys can find somebody that will suit your needs to fill my position. No response. Never got a response. The response that we did get was a live or a community post on Adventures with Purpose's YouTube channel. And I'm sure that there's thousands of people out there who have screenshotted this because it was taken down. And the reason why it was taken down is because I did a follow-up live to that post and I held nothing back. I went full Irish ex-cop on this guy in my live stream. And that post pretty much said, I think the title of that post was in capital letters with exclamation points, attacked. Why Sam will no longer be with Adventures with Purpose or something like that. And it went on a long laundry list of things that Sam was doing wrong. Like he wasn't
Really?
dedicated to YouTube.
Oh, he did that? I didn't never heard about that before.
It was about a 4-paragraph.
Wow.
And it was also up on AWP's personal Facebook page. It was up on Doug Bishop's personal Facebook page. And it was a full-on bash of Sam, that he's not a moral person, that he's not motivated, he'll never make it as a YouTuber, that none of the advice that Jared has given him to become a successful YouTuber has been utilized by Sam to further his YouTube career. And it's very ironical because at that time we had just gotten back from a long 90-day trip. It was in the middle of that 30 days before we left again for another trip. So instead of Sam putting up videos and doing YouTube, he went home for that month out of 7 that he had 1 month out of 7 to be free to spend with his family. So he spent time with his family. So they took it upon them to bash Sam for not being this super entrepreneur and take all that free time that he has and ride this big wave of success that Jared has taught him on AWP. Now, Doug Bishop's not in the picture yet. He's still with Elite Towing Company and working with them. Doug's not a certified diver, nor was he a part of AWP besides, bringing the tow trucks out at that point. So after that, and I deleted this live. I now wish I wouldn't have deleted this live, but the only reason why I did this live was to have AWP take down that post on the community tab because it was all about bashing Sam. That was my only goal. So since he put up this bashing Sam community post, I did a live, and I think I had 1,000 people watching, which I'm usually getting 100 to 300. I did this live stream, just debunking all of the things said about Sam in this community post. And I think it lasted for about an hour or 2 hours. And I went down list for list in that post for the community tab, how they're absolutely wrong about Sam. And within 30 minutes, that post was removed off YouTube. And the reason why it was removed is because 2 reasons. And I know Sam, it's going to be difficult for you to hear. But the main reason why that post was taken down was because the amount of negative comments they were getting. And he probably had a team of 5 people just deleting posts. And they were all about, so Jared didn't create, or he didn't make AWP happen. Sam did. Sam and Jared. So Jared, if he went on his own and he was always doing it by himself, he probably would have had success, but not as astronomical and as quickly as he did. Sam coming on and being Sam and solving cases with Jared, everybody fell in love with Sam. There is no doubt that Sam's genuine to everybody who watches Adventures with Purpose before he left. There's always been doubt from people if Jared's genuine. And that's just because you can't hide for too long who you truly are. It'll come out. Your personality wise. I'm not talking about past crimes or things like that. Personality wise. So he was getting overloaded with negative comments about Sam's the real deal and you're not. So they deleted the post. And that was my goal. So I decided to remove my live because I don't want to tow around with me my positive YouTube career, which is traveling the country, living in a van, seeing all the sites that people can't see. I'm going to take you guys with me. I don't want the coattails of me towing around negativity with AWP. Just deleting trash off my channel. Now I kind of wish I wouldn't, because there's a lot that was said inside that.
So you completely deleted it. It's not like you like privated it or unlisted.
No, I knew if I privately or unlisted it that I'd probably put it back up. And at that time, my goal was just to stay positive and don't have any negativity in my life or traveling with the country with people following me along, because I would always have comments about AWP if I would have left it up, and I didn't want that.
Okay.
So Jacob went on this trip, and I can't speak for Jacob, and he's never told me anything, but I will bet my next 2 paychecks that Jared said to Jacob on that trip, if you're friends with Sam and Kevin any further here, I'm not going to promote your channel. And Jacob put a lot of work in helping them out. What Jared doesn't know, and if you're watching,
probably watching.
I'm thinking he's finding out right now.
Yeah.
You're going to find out now. Jacob's knew all of the propaganda you were going to fill his brain with beforehand. And only thing that was concerning Jacob moving forward, doing those cases with you, was 1, helping families, and 2, building his channel so he could feed his kids. I'm not going to speak for Jacob, but and Lindsay, bless her heart, who's a cameraman and editor for Chaos Divers, she doesn't have a filter. And she's went straight up to Jared's face and told her what she has thought of him during that trip. And if you ever get a chance to bring Lindsay up here, she'll probably tell you herself.
She didn't like him at all then. Yes, obviously. Jared.
She tolerated him. Tolerated him for the success of Chaos Divers. And I'm going to reiterate, if anybody wants to think negative about Chaos Divers or anything like that for some of the things I'm saying, Jacob's main concern is always feeding his family during a time where he really needed that, and 2, helping families. So go show him support. Don't put him in the same spectrum of the money-making scheme. So I can shift into that real quick. The money.
Yeah, let's talk about it. The money-making scheme.
Oh my gosh.
So you weren't there, like once Doug came on, you guys were already gone.
Yeah, we left.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the months. Maybe March of 2020. No, I can't remember it.
It's like a small community with you guys too, like search people, divers, like, or that like YouTube community kind of thing.
What? Ask the question again.
Is it like a small community of you guys? Like, a lot of you kind of talk? Like, it's like these other channels that I've seen. And now I know Chaos, but like, let me see what I can pull them up real quick. The Nug person, Nug Experience with Nug, Adam Brown Adventures, Depth of History. Do you know those people personally too, or just heard of them?
There's a 2-part answer to that question. Yes, in the beginning, all those channels were there in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you why they distanced themselves and weren't a tight-knit group anymore. But after the Tennessee trip, I haven't spoken, seen, or heard of from Nug. I haven't spoken and seen or heard of from Britt, who owns what was it? I forget his channel name. Depths of History. But they just kind of cut their ties and went their own direction. They weren't interested in riding the coattails of AWP. So we kind of were, and then just me and Sam and Dan. The money.
Yeah, let's talk about the money. Curious, because a lot of people were wondering and asking about that, and they sent me a bunch of questions too. But in
Tennessee, everybody was staying in a hotel minus myself, because I have 2 dogs and I live in a van. I'm not going to pay for a hotel room when I already have my house with me. Sleeping in the parking lot, being security for them in the parking lot with all their equipment and everything like that. So Jacob was there. I was there. Adventures of Purpose, Sam, myself. I remember going into the hotel room uh, where Jared was, and we were having a discussion. He was editing a video. And without even me asking, we were just talking about analytics when it comes to YouTube, how to make better content, and how to do this and how to do that. And the conversation got immediately shifted somehow into how much you can make on YouTube. And this is when they were at 900,000 subscribers. And I remember thinking this when he had told, I'm going to tell you what I thought first, and I'm going to tell you what he said. I thought, why would anybody give me that amount of personal information? If I'm not family,
Right.
nobody should know this. And what he told me was, I'm going to pay 300,000 in taxes this year. That's how much money I'm making.
Wow. Oh,
And that's at
yeah.
900,000 subscribers. Later
Wow.
on these trips, I heard many conversations about making $200,000 to $500,000 a month. Now they're at 1,200,000, 1,500,000 or whatever subscribers. And this is all allegedly.
Right.
I don't have
Allegedly.
any
Right.
sheets or numbers to prove all of this. I'm just saying from what came out of somebody else's mouth into my ear. And when I heard that, I'm like, why are we even doing live streams with monetization on? Not monetization, but super chats and things like that. Why do you still have a memberships tab? But I think different than entrepreneurs. I think just make enough to be happier than making as much as you can and being less happy. So that's when the merchandise started really pouring out. And I went to Jared's house, and the first thing that he kind of bragged about when I was there was his garage. He no longer put his cars in his garage. It was just clothing line after clothing line and merchandise completely filling his garage. So I kind of make a joke at him, and he got mad at me. I said, you got to change your name to Adventures with Surplus. And I said, because this is ridiculous. You're selling boats, you're selling t-shirts, you're selling. I'm like, he's like, man, I just got to make as much money as I possibly can. You know, it's a business. I'm like, I don't disagree with you. I've never been a businessman. So I don't have any drive to, I'm like, I don't know how you handle all this, making t-shirts and designing and things like that. So one thing I'll give Jared, when he's motivated, he'll do what it takes. But his motivations are not the same as kind of people I hang out with. He's motivated about making, being a millionaire. One conversation him and I had was, I asked him what his goals are for moving in the future. And I was thinking more on, do you want to stop diving and have a team, a bunch of people doing the camera work where you're just collecting a paycheck? And I told many people this. I said, before you started seeing Jared not being as much on videos, I told a ton of people this, because they asked, why isn't Jared on camera much anymore? I said, he's probably doing the perfect business model. He is setting the future up where he can just sit back and collect the check. That is what you do, what your goal is for running a business, unless your goal is vanity and you want to be on TV all the time and be the hero all the time. I know that financial freedom was more of a motivation than vanity for Jared, but vanity is still a thing for him. So when I called him Adventures with Surplus, he kind of got mad at me and things like that. And then I started seeing more and more live streams of, hey, we're broken down here, or we need new tires. One of my big one was when we went back to Texas on that trip to do a follow-up because we missed something on radar or sonar. The live stream was, please donate. We need $8,000 for this trip. And I already knew when he had said that, I had said, come on, dude, you're making like 200, 300 grand a month.
Wow.
I said, come on. And I think I remember myself thinking I might have a discussion with him, because I have no negative feelings against Jared this time. I just think his business model, I'm more about just say the truth on camera. Because it's always, if you're saying something on camera, it's going to come back and bite you. That's why everything I'm saying right now is truth. I mean, if I were to make some stuff up, I'm fully aware that it's going to come back to bite me. So I remember telling myself that I wanted to have a conversation with, be like, you got to lean back on stuff like, please help us out, because someday somebody's going to put up your taxes.
Yeah.
And if they put up your
That's
taxes,
crazy.
we can pull anybody's taxes.
Right. Yeah.
if they put up your taxes, your channel's done and things like that. So the money hasn't been a problem since before I got there. Put it that way. Has never been a problem. I've seen wads of cash in glove compartments.
Wow, but they're putting it out, or he was putting out kind of like, we need this, we need that, we need help with this, help donate, whatever, pushing it. It's always been like that, I guess. But he's been fine. They've been making a lot of money.
He was making a lot of money. He wasn't giving anybody else
right.
anything.
Because your work there, Sam's work there was just volunteering. It wasn't like
I never discussed it with everybody else. I didn't find out that Sam wasn't getting paid until Sam and I started having discussions about his uncomfortability with AWP. That's just not. There's so much more for two guys who are becoming friends to talk about besides money and things like that. Sam's a minimalist. He's a huge minimalist. I'm a just as large minimalist as he is. And I can promise you that a conversation about money between me and him probably has never happened or will ever happen, besides when he was telling me the reasons why he was leaving AWP. Yeah. Questions. Let's bring up questions here, and then I can lead into how Doug and my thoughts on him.
Yeah. So I've had people tagging me on Discord and the chat. I've missed a lot. If mods can take screenshots and send it to me, that'd be great because I can't follow with the chat. And please, by the way, too, if you guys can go support Nomac's channel, I'll put the link. I added it to the description, but I'll put it again in the chat. And I also put these other guys too. If you could just go support these other channels. If you're upset or you're pissed or you feel some type of way or whatever, you want to find other channels, take the time, whether it's now or after the stream, just go to my description.
Real quick.
Yes.
My channel's done. I'm back into the workforce now.
Oh, you're not working? Oh, okay. It's just.
Yeah. So I'll do future videos I'll do 2 or 3 trips a year.
Okay.
And I'll put those videos up, maybe a few live streams, but
okay. It's just for fun.
If you guys are going to sign up to my channel and you're looking for content, it's going to be probably 4 times a year. Okay.
So we have him. We do have Chaos is in there too. Nug Exploring. And I heard a lot of people were in the chat. By the way, thank you for coming by. Nug Exploring with Nug, Adam Brown Adventures, Depths of History, Dirt Water Divers, and Georgia River Boys. Okay, so let me get to some of the questions, and then we'll get into Doug after that. Somebody was asking about the email exchanges. You wouldn't have seen that though because you weren't there with the company at the time. This was February 2022, I think. So the email exchange. I don't know if you heard all the alleged email exchange between his cousin and him.
I actually heard about it from watching your videos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Sam called me up and said, this is, I don't know, a few days ago or Friday or something like that. He's like, hey, just want to let you know this is what's going on. And I'm like, dude, that's messed up. So I said, you know what, Sam, I'm going to go research it and let's talk again. And the first video that popped up when I searched YouTube for it was yours. So I just decided it was like an old live stream or a live stream that was already done. And I watched it. And you gave a very in-depth of everything like there or on those emails. And I was blown away.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you.
Because Sam's sister actually was part of Jared pranking Sam.
So let me correct that. It is. Well, let me just hold on because I was texting Jessica about this because she was talking about it because people were saying that she was the one that was there in that video, and I don't know if that's the sister you mean.
No,
but okay, no, it's not. No. It's somebody else. It's another. Trying to find
a sister or cousin or something like that. I can't verify. Yes. I've never met her,
right?
But I know that when Sam called me up and told me that prank was going on, he was like, "Yeah, it's like Jared's cousin or sister or something like that." It's my birthday, so my mom's texting me, blowing my phone up.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is what she sent me. I'm not sure if you can see that.
I see the dog and it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Okay, I found the text. Let me just, for all the people that have been wondering about this, because I've seen messages and all this stuff. Okay. That's my little sister, Rochelle.
Yeah, 100% correct. I remember that name now. 100% correct. Yeah.
Right. Rochelle is her younger sister. It's Jessica's. Rochelle is our younger. Okay. Rochelle is our younger sister. And so that's her name, Rochelle. And Jessica was pretty pissed off because I don't think she even knew about this. And I haven't seen the video. It was on another channel. They were talking about it, but like they set up this prank to prank Sam, and Sam is or was, I know he was in a relationship or married to somebody.
Still is.
and they were trying to like set him up. I guess it was kind of funny, but like she had this girl trying to flirt with him and do whatever, and I don't know. They were pretty pissed off about that. But so everybody's clear, that's not Jessica.
Right.
That's another sister. Somebody asked here, did Jared force them to change how they edit videos for YouTube channel, referring to the style change in TV production? That again, you weren't there for that. The new
I was there
changes.
for a lot of the every case that I was on, they were filming.
Okay.
And a lot of the direction from filming is grab this, grab that, get that shot. You know, towards Dan. I've only known Dan as the cameraman.
Okay.
I did one video with I can't remember his name. Not Carson, the other guy. Anyway, one video with him. So Dan's the only person I know, but I remember a lot of direction, like, you know, grab this person crying, grab that person, you know, grab this police car coming in, grab, you know, a lot of the dramatic things about it. And you guys gotta understand that Jared only knows one style of YouTube, and that's because he came from the Patty Mayo channel, where he was doing the editing and filming for Patty Mayo. And all of that was 100% false drama. You know, it was just, it wasn't even meant to come across as true, but just funny and dramatic, which are like police cases and things like that.
Okay.
So Jared, he brought that into his AWP filming style, which is a reality channel that's not false, but he brought that into it. So yes, I'm not going to speak for Dan, nor will I ever.
Okay.
But I 100% know that the workload that Dan was taking on played a part in him leaving. Just a part.
All right. Next question. I saw they were asking in the chat. We're gonna watch Josh. I don't know, because I don't know if he's cool with us playing it, or maybe I'll just send people there after. I don't know if he's all right with that, and I don't want to like have issues on YouTube. So we'll see. We're still gonna do all the questions, everything. Towards the end, we'll figure out if we're gonna do it or not. And if anything, I'll just put his link and I can direct everybody over there.
Josh is a good dude. I've met him a couple times, and there's no bull crap with him either. He's just a good family man.
Okay.
So I would ask people not to put Josh in the same. Don't bundle him with the crap that's going on.
He made apparently he's premiering a video where he's resigning AWP. That's what I heard.
Josh is a moral person, 100%.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. All right, next question. And this is kind of answered already, but it says, were they compensated for the work they did with the AWP brand? I know you weren't. It was just volunteer mostly, and Sam too. But was Dan paid?
Dan was paid.
Okay.
So nobody was paid besides Dan before we left. Everybody was paid after we left. So everybody who took our positions over was compensated.
So people, they're asking too, what was the NDA about? So I'm assuming that you didn't have to do any of that because you weren't contracted on, right? But do you know about the NDAs, like what they weren't supposed to say or allowed to talk about?
Before we left, or how they are funded now, or how they run business now? Because there was no NDAs that I knew of before I got there.
Oh, okay. Because I've heard Anthony talk about it. Like they had these non-disclosure agreements where they're not allowed to talk about certain things.
So people who join up to hang out with us for a couple of days, they've got probably NDAs that they had to sign because that they don't want to release information before AWP had an opportunity to release it. Because I was even told during doing my videos on my channel, I'll give you a date you can release the footage that you're editing for your channel.
Okay. Let me go to the next one then. Somebody asked what the work dynamic was like, but I think you kind of spoke on that.
It was split. It was split between a lot of just having fun and free-willed to the opposite. It was split, but there's a lot of people that were involved. And depending on it was all business when we were doing stuff. It was all business, and it should have been. And then during the off times, it was a lot of hanging out and just being guys.
Let me see. I had another thing here. Okay, I don't know if you know anything about this. It says, ask Sam and Dan about the Uber awkward and fake candlelight vigil for Bill Simmons that Jared orchestrated and didn't stick around for? You know anything about that? I don't know anything.
I actually, when I worked the Bill Simmons case for them, it was a multi-day case, a multi-week case, I believe. And the day that I had to head back to Ohio, because I think I had another month of work before I was putting my notice in. I came back and they were working a helicopter case too, where they wanted to see a helicopter in the water. They actually found Bill that time. And I'm glad, I actually am really glad that I wasn't there for it, because talking to people who were locals there,
Yeah.
that are friends of mine, they said it was a complete debacle behind the scenes. A lot of phony fake stuff going on.
Wow. Another question that just came through, and the previous question that was from PS, so thank you for that. And or somebody on Discord, I forgot. Laura P says, question for Kevin. I've heard at least one incident of family not allowed to take their mics off when loved ones were being recovered from water. Had you witnessed that?
I have not. I did not witness that. I never even saw the families get mic'd up.
Okay.
That I think that was a new thing after I left, because I did notice that some families were wearing mics. But when I was there was no mics on anybody. It was just, this is before he bought a whole bunch of equipment though too. There was just some high definition microphones on the camera with directional zoom and stuff like that.
Okay. Miss Norma wants to know, ask Sam and Dan how they felt about Jared using the Leach family. And somebody asked that, why did AWP stop the Randy Leach search? You know anything about that?
I can speak on that a little bit. I know that Jared's wife, this just comes from Jared, so I never spoke to his wife or met her. She had a problem with them taking on known murder cases or high probability murder cases. She just wanted him to stick to search and recovery for questionable ones. So yeah.
Okay. Chris was wondering, did they donate any money to families? I guess, Jared, do you know of any? Is that something they would do sometimes, or?
I never witnessed that.
Okay. Let me see. Anything else, chat? ACSH says, Kevin, thank you for your insight and what you do. We appreciate it. I personally will be following your channel in the future. Let's see what else.
Thank you.
Chris, we already answered that. He didn't give Sam any money, Jared, that I know of.
So the excuse, well, I was part of the excuses.
Okay.
I remember seeing the correspondence between Sam and Jared. The excuse was, I pay for everything. I pay for the RV. I pay for the gas. I pay for your food while we were out. You don't have to pay a dime while we're out. And I give you knowledge on how to be successful on YouTube per our agreement. Why would I give you anything more than that?
Okay. I guess let's talk a little bit about, one more. Let me slip in there to another one. Was all the equipment purchased, or was it donated, or was it like part and part probably, or?
Well, there was a ton of donations. The RV was purchased. The trailer, I believe, first one was purchased. Maybe the second one was donated. I don't know, or parts of it. But there's been, I don't know any numbers, but there's been hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of donations when it comes to either super chats or tires, or I would imagine, memberships and things like that.
Let's see. I got another one here. So Fresher said in the chat, AWP has sued before for reward money. Have you heard about them suing for reward money before?
Yes. And I knew before I came on. So this is how much I know about that style that he carries. I came on here knowing there's probably a great chance he's going to try to sue me for things I'm saying here.
You think over here, even just being on here on this stream?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Wow.
If he wasn't under indictment, I think,
to
do this, I think he would come after me for defamation of character.
Wow.
But I'm not speaking anything. Everything's alleged, and I'm not speaking anything to 100% truth. I have no documentation, nor will I provide any. I'm just telling you what I was a part of and what I heard other people say. I was a cop for a very long time. I know I'm way inside my rights to just talk.
Right. There was another one I saw. Oh, do you know if they've paid for funerals ever that you know of?
Not that I know
AWP?
of, no.
Okay.
I put it this way: I haven't witnessed any monies deviated out other than Dan from AWP. Dan's the only person I've seen paid or entity that I've seen paid.
Okay. Do you know why? I'm just curious why Sam had taken the videos down a couple of times. Is it for fear of like being
No,
sued or anything like that? Or
it's not fear at all.
okay,
I'm trying to. I know
you don't want to
Sam and
speak
I
for
are so
him.
close. I know the
Yeah.
conversations that we're having in my brain right now. So I'll tell you that Sam. There's many reasons. None of them are worry. The major reason is that Sam doesn't want to have this as a part of his life anymore. And that's the way it's been for a year. He hasn't wanted this as a part of his life. There's been many videos made about Sam exiting, and he hasn't released them because he doesn't want that on his channel. He's already put one out. He doesn't want other people to comment about a very bad situation in his life on his channel. And the reason why he took all his videos down is because a YouTuber fooled Sam into a conversation. And after that, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to concentrate me, my family, and work.
Right.
And we're going to leave it. And this is by far way before all these allegations came out from family members of Jared. He just wanted to distance himself from it. And I don't blame him. You can only concentrate on so much. And, you might see things from Sam in the future on YouTube. You may not. But that was enough. It takes a lot to break the camel's back when it comes to Sam. But that was a very heavy straw when he got fooled into an interview that he thought was a phone conversation.
Yeah, it was a long one too. And
so you know which one I'm referencing.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it, and I heard about it, and it sucks because I don't blame that guy for not coming on or anything. Like I wouldn't want to come on either. You don't know who's really who or who's recording what or people's intentions, and a question Giselle was saying, what was the worst experience with AWP? Do you have one that maybe pops in your head?
Yes. I'm trying to think if I should say it. So the worst experience I wasn't a part of, but someone gave me this information. Now I want to direct you to not try to figure out who gave me this information because you're going to be wrong. But it was somebody who was there. And when I say people are there, it's either the cameraman or it's Sam or it's a family member or it's a passerby or it's a fan. It's many people. But I would take this from a grain of salt if it was a passerby. I wouldn't take it as a grain of salt if it was a family member or if it was a team member. There was a case where a grandfather of a small community came up missing. And during the off-camera interview with the family, a person in the family, I know who it is, so I'm not going to say who they are or what their relation is to the grandfather, had informed AWP that that the grandfather is a town celebrity. So he is well known, small community, very small community. We're talking, hundreds to maybe thousands of people, 2 streetlights, country old town in
Sam in the chat said you can say it was me.
Okay. It was Sam. All right. So the granddaughter had said, but my grandfather is a local celebrity to this town. So everybody knows him. So the motive or modus operandi MO to starting a case is to drive around all areas, look at them on the global site too of waters that they could find people. It's just part of it. So there were some ponds or some lakes and some creeks of houses in the area that this person could have drove off into the water. So it made the investigation list. In that investigation, they walked up to a farmer, I believe, and knocked on his door and said, "Hey, we're AWP, we're dive and search teams. We working a case right now for," and they mentioned the person's name. And the person at the door looked at all of them. Granddaughter was there, father was there, Jared, Sam, Dan, looked at them and said, "Never heard of him." So Jared looked right at the granddaughter and said, "I guess he's not that much of a celebrity, is he?"
Wow.
And then in the RV later on continued to make jokes with just her and the family and Sam and Dan in the RV of that same, Jared's very loose lipped. He doesn't have a filter. And I don't think he has the social maturity not to be an asshole. And he was an asshole to this family. I've seen a family that we worked with in Texas where he was very matter of fact about the filming process and how we're going to create content. So don't pay attention to this or that, or just kind of follow my lead. I was a part of that one. And there was two sisters. And I got close with those two sisters when it came to, because I was security. I was with them while they were in the waters. And it was expressed to me on shore from both those daughters that they're glad that Sam and I and Dan are here because they're very uncomfortable talking to Jared.
Wow. Did you ever get creep vibes from this guy? Like I always keep hearing people sometimes kind of say like they got some sort of.
I got annoyance vibes from him. I've been bullied my entire life, and he has a very bully mentality towards me. But he didn't know who he was bullying when he tried to start bullying, but he got stronger and tried harder every single time. But I'm just too alpha to roll over and take it. And that was a big deterrent from him. I think that one of the major reasons why him and Sam and I became close.
Right. Oh, thank you for sharing that. More questions are kind of rolling in. Do you know where Jared is now?
No idea.
Okay.
I'm sure he's in Oregon. His case is the 30th, I think, in Utah, right?
Yeah. The case is in Utah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in Oregon. And I want to mention one thing real quick for YouTubers that are watching this right now that are content creators. I understand the need and the want to draw up subscriptions and views for a hot topic, and this is a hot topic. Please do your part and don't create false realities, because this isn't a case or a subject about drunk driving or theft and stuff like that. This is a very sensitive topic. Don't try to get rich off somebody else being a pedophile. Make your motivation more towards bringing awareness and help than trying to be a content creator. I know it's difficult because YouTube's hard. But just do the moral thing. And if you're going to contact myself, Sam, Dan, or anybody to come on there, if we don't think that you're moral, I can guarantee the answer is going to be no.
Yeah. And to what you're saying, because I've been DMing the cousin. I haven't asked her to come on at all. Seems like a very sweet, genuine, authentic person. And I'm not even going to say a lot of, the conversation, but some of the things was me warning her, be careful, don't go here, don't go there. One of them was about that whole situation where Sam, was recorded. It's like, be careful with that, that channel, like that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot of like online traps or things that people will try to do, or even her name in certain places. And so it's kind of, definitely agree with what you're saying. Another question here. Claudia asked, I wonder if they think Nick saying Kylie's location in the car was suspicious for views. I don't know if you know or follow the whole Kylie Rodney situation or
I really didn't.
okay.
I watched it. I never stopped watching AWP. I wasn't religious about watching them anymore when I left, but I would watch the cases that were solved. Probably 75% of them. And I even, as a former law enforcement person, even was riding the idea that there was foul play just from one video that AWP did. So in my brain, I was like, okay, if you guys have all this information, this happened, that happened, and this happened, and that happened, I'm pretty sure it's foul play. I come to find out like 5 days later that they didn't have one piece of that information. It was all just fabricated to sell the story,
With AWP?
which with AWP, yeah, which 100% came out in the end.
Right. Well, people
It
still don't
wasn't
believe
foul.
that. I really, during that time, this is the way I felt about it because I got mixed up in some huge mess, falsely accused of all kinds of stuff. And what I didn't like kind of how the way they handled it, AWP, because I feel like they were, I don't know, pushing foul play, push over the beyond. I mean, and going on
That's
all
what
these
sells the
channels,
video.
going on all these channels. I'm like, I don't even know how these guys have that much time on their hands. They're jumping on channels that have like 100 subscribers, 500 subscribers. I'm like, what? This is so odd. And the way they were titling their videos, I was saying they might as well have titled it "Murder or Murder." I couldn't believe I was really turned off. Whoever was doing that on that channel, the way they were handling it, because it was causing. I feel like it was pushing some of the crazier people to attack innocent people.
You talking about the editors on AWP?
Whoever did the titling of the video
So
and the members.
I'm pretty sure that they were controlled,
Okay.
that it wasn't their decision.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because I physically witnessed that side being controlled before.
Right. Okay. Oh, and I just wanted to clear something up too. I think people might have misheard you. I'm pretty sure I understood this correctly, but you said that the only people that got paid after you guys had left was Dan.
No, before I left, I only know
Before you
anything
left,
about
sorry.
AWP from the time I left and before.
Right.
And
So-
the only person I ever saw get any financial gain was Dan.
So the other guys after you had left, they got paid. We're talking about like Doug, Nick.
Yeah, they're all paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that up for, I know some people were asking about that again.
He had to have paid them. I mean, you can't have this big, YouTube bashing against him for not paying Sam and then follow that up with, I'm not going to pay anybody else too. So yeah, he had to pay those guys.
So you believe whoever this was over there, maybe it was Jared, they were spinning this story for clicks and views.
That's a motivation. Yeah.
Possibly, right? That's just our opinion. Yeah.
But my opinion,
Right.
no video ever produced from AWP is not about the most clicks you can get.
Okay.
100% motivation.
And I've heard some people said that they felt like there's at some point there was a change in their videos too, that it just got like worse and worse with the titling and clickbaiting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, greed will get, it's like a snowball. When you start to feed it, it's going to get bigger.
Okay. Somebody said, and I have no idea if you would even know this. Brock said, how did Jared?
Brock, what's up, buddy?
Oh, you know that person? Okay.
Brock the Rock?
It just says Brock.
It might be Brock the Rock.
Okay. How did Jared treat his wife? Sounds like all the AWP workers are on damage control. Jared has been robbing people his entire life. Would you know anything
Never met
about
his
that?
wife,
Okay.
so I was never around both of them at the same time. Yeah, I never met his wife.
Okay.
He did hide stuff from her, though, when it came to financials. I was there for that.
Okay. So somebody, and this is a good question too. Miss Bruce said, on a reputable charity searching website, it does say that AWP does have a 501c3. How does that work? How can they be nonprofit? And I've heard that they're not. They're for profit, not nonprofit. But there's always seems to be some sort of confusion about that.
So I believe that a difference between a nonprofit and a profit is a sustainable income. So when I say sustainable, it's a certain amount is documented. When it comes to nonprofit, especially with AWP, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know the side of it, but I do know the YouTube side of it. I think that the YouTube income doesn't have to be a part of the profiting because it's not the LLC.
Okay. Possible. All right. Next one. And again, this is another one. Since you never met Jared's wife, Does Kevin think that Jared's wife will stick by him? So,
How can any woman stick by somebody who, if he's convicted?
right, if he gets convicted, yeah.
There's things that a lot of wives, I mean, I'm for a wife or a husband for giving their significant other forgiveness for cheating. This is one of those things. This is not one of those things. This is the thing that you can't look away from. Even my own parents, if I found that out,
Right.
it would be over. So I can't speak for anybody else, but I would just imagine that, I don't know. I'm not a parent. I've never been married, so I don't know, but I could just tell you as a husband, if I was married, it'd be game over.
Okay, let me roll on to the next one. If you guys have questions in the chat, just tag iCkEdMeL at iCkEdMeL. I don't know how much time you have. If you're okay for now, or how you're doing?
Good.
You're good. So yeah, just tag at iCkEdMeL. I have somebody send me screenshots, so if I miss it, I'm not like fully looking at the chat. Gabriella says here, would there be anyone who would want to replace AWP, or do you see them just shutting down since there are so many other search parties out there who are kind of doing the same thing?
Here's my advice, or here's why I'm pretty sure what's going to happen. The only person that could carry this on as a YouTube career to take the torch is Doug. That would be a gigantic mistake for many reasons. I'm not Doug, so I'm not telling you what to do, Doug. If you're watching, do whatever you want to do, dude. You wouldn't listen to me anyway. One major reason is because there's a lot of videos of you praising Jared. I don't think you're going to be successful because you're very associated with him and you didn't leave. I think that you would fail. I hope that's motivation for you to be a success. But I just know how people work. I know that Doug is, when it comes to the allegations that comes on to Jared, I can tell you with all of his soul, I know how Doug loves his children. If someone would have done that to Doug's children, Doug would be in jail for murder. I can tell you that.
I wonder if that's what it meant by the code or something.
The code is that I don't want to give Doug's past up, but there's a code. I'll let you guess it. That if you come here, everything you've done is okay. But if you're a pedophile, we're going to kill you.
Oh, okay.
That's the code. Which means you can do anything. The only thing you can't do is touch kids.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people were kind of confused. I know he was probably trying to be vague to watch what he says and maybe, I don't know. But some people had taken that as maybe he was hiding something or protecting Jared, or that with this kid stuff, when we don't tolerate that, like it's a wrap. And so
There's only one organization that you can do whatever you want. We don't care. You can kill people. You can do whatever you want. There's only one organization that says you do this, it's game over. I'm not sure if you know what that organization is.
Not really. Maybe some gang thing or something, but I'm not sure.
No. I'll tell you off camera. How about
okay. That? Yeah. Okay. Maybe somebody in the chat will put it there.
They probably will.
Run the World says, how do you feel about Doug? Do you think he's a good guy? And I know you touched on that a little bit. You guys had a falling out kind of, or?
Doug is a great human being up until the point when he played a part with bashing Sam. So all that's forgivable. I can tell you this about Doug. Doug's a family guy. He loves his wife. He loves his kids. Nothing's more important than them. He is passionate about not doing the 9 to 5 and to being a YouTuber. Sorry, Doug, this one's going to hurt a bit, but you're an extreme fanboy of Jared before all of this. Extreme fanboy. And that led you into being a jerk. And I think you were motivated by becoming a celebrity and hanging out with other celebrity YouTubers like Heavy D or whoever, Sparks. I think you saw what it's like to have a lot of money and or fame.
Can you explain the Heavy D thing? The Heavy D, because I saw somebody reference that on Twitter. What is?
Well, have you seen Heavy D? Sparks is, I don't even know. I'm not a member of his YouTube channel or a subscriber. I've seen a couple videos. Probably a 5 million subscriber YouTube channel or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Big beards like Doug. I think they first started off in like the diesel truck business on YouTube or something like
Okay.
that. I don't really remember. YouTubers don't normally watch a lot of YouTube unless they're researching stuff.
Right. Yeah,
So,
me either. I just, unless it's a topic I'm covering,
yeah.
I don't know. People are sending me videos all day long, and I'm like, if I'm sitting watching videos, I'm not going to be creating videos or live streaming it. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For you guys that don't know, YouTubers don't watch YouTube.
All right, let me check some of the next question. Or unless you still wanted to keep expanding on Doug.
So yeah, let me expand a little bit on Doug. So I don't want anybody to put Doug into the spectrum of disliking him because of association with Jared. Doug 100% is against everything that's been going on right now. I can tell you that. I can promise you that. Doug has made mistakes, and that's severing ties and friendships and publicly bashing good people to gain seats in the house of Jared. Now that this came out, I would suggest, Doug, that you get back into the towing business. Because if you try to make a YouTube career with this, I hope you do well to feed your family. But reality is reality. The majority of YouTubers are going to see you associated with a pedophile or with an alleged pedophile, which is going to hinder your success. You need every advantage in YouTube that you can possibly get to start a channel, not negatives, especially one this large, to continue. I 100% that the name AWP will be a distant memory in 10 years. If anybody tries to carry that torch, it'll burn out on you and sting your hand. So I think that carrying this torch, getting your own channel, do it. If you don't find success in 2 years, don't spend any more of your money. A success, as I mean, is an income, not success of finding people.
So that YouTube channel too, I'm just wondering myself, who literally, is it Jared that owns that YouTube page?
AWP?
Yeah, the Adventure Purpose YouTube page.
Yeah, he's a owner, creator, founder.
Okay.
I don't know if he's passed it on to somebody else.
Right.
But yeah, he created that channel.
So I don't know much.
Can I touch on one more thing with Doug?
Yeah, please.
Doug, I've been in the Coast Guard for a very long time, and I know that you're headstrong, and I know you, dude, you could battle the biggest of battles. I know you can, but let me tell you this as a former Coast Guard guy, you don't have the experience, dude, when it comes to diving. Please don't fool yourself that you do. I know that you count your hours and how many dives you have. It's not the amount of time you spend underwater. It's the amount of time you think about diving, and that takes years. That takes many cases of you coming to near death or close injury situations. Sam's been diving for 10 years. And when I was in Washington with him, for the first time ever, his face mask broke and he handled it the wrong way. I've seen you on videos dive to 100 feet with a non-instructor, and that non-instructor was Jared. I know very little about diving. If I was there, I would have stopped it from you diving 100 feet. Do not carry a YouTube channel to dive where you're the lead. Please, let's hire somebody else to be the lead. The way I can say, if anybody watches Deadliest Catch, the Kenora, what's the name of that boat that those two sons took over, and one of them is in jail now for drugs?
I've seen that show before.
So their dad died, who was the owner of the boat and the driver of the boat. The son didn't automatically jump into the captain's seat. He hired a captain. And that was to be the safest person on the water. Do the same thing. If you're going to take over this channel or take over a channel to do this, put somebody else in that main diver seat. Don't take it, because you're going to kill yourself and probably hurt other people. And I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think it would be good if he somehow if he took over. He seems like from that last video I saw, maybe he was gonna go his own separate way. Hey, he people love him. The people that support him, they do love him from what I've seen in the comments and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe he could do his own thing. I mean, I'm not in that field, so I don't know. You don't believe he could, but definitely, yeah, And the other thing I want to say too, I'm glad you kind of came on, and I know you guys have had your differences, but people were wondering too if this guy maybe had known, but he seems to have very strong feelings about that. So there's no way in hell this guy would be cool knowing that
Yeah,
and being
100%
alongside.
of everybody that's watching this, please believe that Doug is
That's what matters.
nowhere even a smidgen
Okay.
into that type of crap.
Right.
No, no, no.
Okay.
He's had a shady past before, but I can tell you that if that would have, I'm sure that if Doug would have known on the road, Jared would have been in the hospital because
Wow.
Doug would have beat the shit out of him.
Okay. Somebody, unsupervised maniacs asked, "What did you think about Doug's video? If you saw it,
The one where he came out
just
today or
last,
yesterday,
yeah, where he talked about the code and
it was real. It was
okay,
serene. It was yeah, it was heartfelt. There's a little bit of that video that I feel he's protecting his future too. I can't blame him for that. He needs an income.
right,
But it was definitely surreal. Duck would not touch any part of that. Yeah, I'll reiterate. If Doug would have found out with Jared on the road, Jared would be in the hospital
okay,
because Doug would have beat the shit out of him.
yeah, I think that's really important because that's a big thing to put on somebody, and people were wondering, however people feel about Doug, that's important to know. So, another question. Okay, we're gonna check out. Let's see. I had seen this somewhere. I don't know where it is, but somebody had said, uh, damn it, I just lost a thought. It was with regards to Kylie.
I do it all the time, bro.
It was a Kylie thing. They wanted to ask you something, but I know I already asked about that if you thought they hyped it up.
They did hype it up.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering, yeah, they hyped it up.
Okay.
Nobody's not at fault a part of that team for hyping that up too. I'm not gonna not call a spade a spade. There's nobody on that team that's not at fault.
Right. The thing is, what I want to know too, and I'm gonna have to clarify this with Anthony because he had said that like Jared had mentioned something about his past, but I don't know if it was vague. Was it like whatever? And then that email too. If you saw in that email exchange, it said that people in the office knew. I just wonder if like Jared, and I know you don't know for sure, but like I wonder if Jared was like lying and manipulating this person to have her believe that everybody
There's
in the office.
there's nobody in the office, dude.
Okay.
There's nobody. There's probably another person reading the emails and that's it. But there's no goddamn office.
Wow.
He controls and sees everything. I remember when I was bitching about one of the comments on my videos. I mean, you're as a YouTuber, you know this better than anybody. You're gonna have those keyboard warriors.
Right.
It's part of the game. I remember I was laughing, making fun of, bitching about one of the comments. And Jared's like, I don't read comments. I haven't read comments in a long time. And next hour, he's over there flipping through all the comments. And he's like, this person said something bad about you. And I go, Jared, I thought you didn't read comments. He's like, well, yeah, sometimes I do. No, he read every single one of them.
Oh, okay.
Every one of them. He was always on his phone or computer.
Did you know? I mean, this is this whole tow truck driving situation with the Kylie story and AWP. You have any idea? Do you know if that was made up or was he hired or he was a real, like, he's obviously a real person, but do you know anything about that or no?
Tow truck driving? I'm not 100% familiar with I didn't watch all the videos with that because once it started to be clickbait, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So yeah, we'll leave that alone because
yeah, I don't know. I just know that she was at a party. She was missing. She was found in the water.
Right. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, guys? Let me see if I got anything else here. Let's see. And I really appreciate you coming on. And people told me about the code too. The chat was spamming it, so I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what they're talking about."
You can say it out loud, and I'll give you a look.
They were saying prison code, and I I'm not gonna judge somebody for. I mean, as long as it's nothing like what we're talking about with Jared. People change their life and stuff. But I totally understand that why he said Doug the way he said things in that video, and I was kind of wondering myself if he knew too, because based off of what Anthony said. But now talking to you, it's like now it's at least that aspect. I'm like, okay, there's no way this guy knew because he would have flipped.
So I could iterate on this. Nug, myself, Britt, Anthony, a couple other people. We've spent many times at a bar, restaurant, or hot tub in Tennessee, and a lot of things were discussed. So if Anthony said something, I'm pretty sure he's telling the truth. because there was
Okay.
a lot of when the alcohol hits you, yeah, a lot of people
Right.
talk.
So I'm gonna definitely talk with him again and kind of clarify that with Anthony. And he seems like a good guy too, Anthony. That's the
He's a
only
great guy,
person. Yeah. Okay.
100% great guy. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Any other questions, guys? Completely unexpected, but kind of like that too.
What's unexpected?
You know what? Just you coming on. I had no idea you were gonna come on or
You
the
know what?
other
I
creators.
battled with this decision watching a couple of your videos and some other
Mm.
people's videos. I talked to Sam about it, and I said, "What if Dr. Phil calls you and wants you to be on his channel?" And I'm not going to discuss what Sam and I discussed privately, but one, I can tell you this, that I was going to send Sam a text the next day or a phone call saying, if you're going to go, I'm going to go there to protect you.
Right.
So that's a future. That's a reality. The reality is that when you have 3 million subscribers on YouTube and you're all over the place and you have this astronomical of a situation happen, you're going to see every large media jump on this because it's clickbait.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm kind of surprised still. Somebody had mentioned, so let me just get this. Granny Vroom Room said, "Hey, dude, there's a major election going on right now. Media's pretty busy." Which I still say they have so many sources of people they could just make an article. But I'm kind of shocked so far that it's catching on, but it still hasn't blown up. Do you have any thoughts about that? Like maybe why
Yeah,
the?
November 30th, you'll see it everywhere.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah,
trial,
you'll see
the
it
hearing.
everywhere.
Okay. Somebody asked too, and this is another thing. Thank you, Kayla, for reminding me. She says, "Is Nick still the AWP?" And I also wanted to ask you: have you ever spoken with Nick? Do you know the guy?
Never
Any
met him.
thoughts on? Never met him.
Yeah. Actually, no, it's a lie. I met him once
Okay.
at Jared's house, and it was like maybe in passing.
Okay.
I think that's Nick. I can't remember.
Okay. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Yo, thank you so much, man, for coming on and like trusting me because I know like the internet's just kind of crazy and rough. And thank you for giving me your time and Sam for being in the chat. And if you need anything, well, with regards to YouTube or any kind of whatever, just reach out to me. I don't know what your email is.
Why don't it's the Nomock Experience, one word, at Gmail.
Okay.
Why don't you shoot me an email real quick, and I'll just give you my phone number. So if you ever want to text me saying, "Can we discuss this?"
Okay.
I'll 100% come up because I don't toy around with this subject. This subject, I even told Sam this. I'm like, people who do this, they're not human beings. They are no longer human beings to me. You can make mistakes with when it comes to manslaughter, when it comes to murder, fraud, tax evasion, the big wigs of things to do. When it comes to this subject, which is all alleged right now, but we all have seen the stuff you put up when it comes to the emails. At that moment for me, I'm no longer talking about a human being.
Right.
That's beyond. I'm not even going to try to describe it. I put it this way. When I was a police officer, I worked in, for one, the inner city schools, but I also worked in the inner city hospitals. And I was known for never going to the ICU for children. Like, because we had to do rounds. You do rounds in the burn unit. You do rounds in the ER. You do rounds in, but peds ICU, I wouldn't do rounds. I have a soft spot in my heart for kids. The reason why, I'll give you a little insight, is in the Coast Guard, I carry a lot of stuff from what I've seen kids go through in just, recreational boating. So I think that is what drove me into, you don't screw with dogs, you don't screw with kids. No pun intended, but you don't hurt dogs, you don't hurt kids. If you do, you're not a human being to me.
Right. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I sent you an email with my number, so just text me sometime. And I really appreciate you giving insight and I think even being fair, because even though you guys had a fallout, you and Doug, but you're just like, hey, this guy would never do this. Like, he would really feel some type of way about this. So you seem pretty fair all across. So thank you, man.
Yeah, you
Appreciate it.
guys can go show us if Doug decides to take this route. I know that only how many people are watching? 3, 4, 5,000. I don't know.
5,000. Yeah.
Um, that is seriously a percentage of what a subscriber count or a view count is needed. So people that watch us in the future too, Doug will have a very, very hard time creating a YouTube channel because of association with Jared. If he does, try to keep him out of it when it comes to this case, and just watch his content for what it's created for, which is helping families.
Right.
Even though I'm saying that 3,000 people, only probably 300 of them are going to take that to heart. Just the numbers of YouTube. Leave the people alone that don't need to be a part of this, and
Right.
show support to them if they want to carry a torch. Unfortunately, reality is reality. I think, Doug, if you do, don't read the comments, dude. Don't read the comments.
Oh, yeah, it can be brutal sometimes.
Yeah, I would actually turn the comments off.
Yeah. A final question to Olivia, and I guess this is kind of question for Kevin: is Jared a faithful husband?
I have no reason. I've never witnessed him not be faithful when it comes to another woman or person. I have known him not to be faithful with information and finances.
Okay. All right, Kevin. Thank you so much again, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking your time to really explain things. I think you cleared up a lot of things for us, and it's true that the focus should be Jared, but I think you also cleared up because, like I said, I was hearing rumblings. People were saying, "Oh, Sam knew, and that's why he left," and Doug knew, and all this stuff. And so I'm glad you came out. At least cleared that one of the more, one of the more egregious things that people were saying. Kind of shut that out.
100% my motivation is to give clarity to people who don't need to be in the crosshairs. I'm not motivated from anything besides that with me coming up here, because I know this is going to be everywhere on YouTube, and then by December be everywhere on mainstream media, and they're probably going to reference this video. My exit statement would be leave everybody else out of it when it comes to correlation, because nobody else knew.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll respond to that email, send you my message or my phone number, and we'll hopefully talk soon.
Okay. Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
All right.